Welcome back, everyone. Well, as you know, the Fed came out recently with a benchmark move. They're raising interest rates after almost a decade. And even though that's national news, let's face it, all news is local. So I invited Jim Amell, who's a director at Marvin Company. They're partners of ours. They underwrite the Warren County Board of Supervisor meetings. So first, welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Jesse. Glad to be here.
Second, thank you for making it possible for us to do that program.
That's our pleasure.
And let's face it, Marvin Company, leader in your category, leader in your industry. I really thought it would be helpful for our viewers if we sort of just laid out what this interest rate hike means. Big news in a decade.
Yeah, it is.
Let's go back to the beginning. Why was it cut to start with?
Yeah, as you recall, the late 2000s, there was a real economic downturn, and they call that the Great Recession. The Feds needed to do something to help stimulate the economy, and they dropped interest rates a number of times down to zero, as you know, and the hopes that would encourage more borrowing, lending, all in hopes of enlightening the economy.
You know, I think the key word there, and I remember as an individual, and I also remember as a small business owner, the whole idea that you just felt so restricted, you just didn't know what to do.
Right.
So the sense is that if they were cutting the interest rates, there's more of an incentive to do something.
Yeah,
right?
it was just cheaper to borrow, cheaper to
right.
reinvest, yeah.
Right, gotcha. Now, decades gone by, did that work?
It did and it didn't. I mean, it certainly helped stimulate the economy in some regards. There's other things. I mean, it I think directed some capital away from lending into assets that had a better return on investment. So,
right.
But for a lot of businesses, it certainly helped. We have clients who are able to borrow to whether it's buy vehicles, do expansions, and very low interest rates certainly made that affordable. In some cases, made the difference between them doing a project or not. So. Absolutely, it helped.
Well, it seems like, it worked on the unemployment rate. I think I just read a statistic last night that said, at the height of the recession, it was pushing 10, 11% unemployment. And now we're at that 5%.
Right.
And they consider something around 2% full employment.
Yeah.
So obviously great gains, although a decade's a long time too. It wasn't as if someone flipped a switch. This has been a slow ride back, right?
Yeah.
All right, so obviously the Fed believes that, the Fed meaning the Federal Reserve, the Fed sees that they can increase the interest rate now.
Yes, yeah. So it went up a quarter of a point.
So it went up a quarter of a point. What's the benefit to that?
Yeah, the benefit, I think part of it's psychological, and you see that in the response of the stock market. The psychology is that the Fed has the confidence in the economy. As you know, they've been very cautious. So they're going to wait till all lights are green before they did this. So again, it's just an overall confidence in the economy. For a potential borrower, it really doesn't make much difference. A quarter of a point is small and shouldn't affect decisions. It'll help savers a little bit. As you know, interest rates on savings accounts, money markets, short-term investments is practically nil. So this will start to creep that up a little bit too. So there is a benefit to people who save money and invest in that perspective.
I got it. I don't know about you, but when I saw that my interest rate for my CD was 17 cents, I thought, okay, I wouldn't mind just a little bit of an interest hike there. Some of the pundits last night, and let's clear this up because you said something I want to cycle back on. Oh no, your car loan's going to go up, your credit card payments are going to go up, and this kind of thing. Durable goods, they're going to go up. Mortgages are going to go up. Almost making it sound, as the media does sometimes, like, oh, it's going to be a fundamental shift. It doesn't sound to me that that's the case.
Yeah, I don't think so, Jesse. The rates that are most directly affected are the short-term rates. So yeah, car loans may go up. Lines of credit rates are going to go up. I don't think it's going to affect credit card interest rates. But again, remember, we're at historic lows. So a quarter of a point, we're still at historic lows, just a quarter of a point above it. Regarding the mortgage rates, those are more tied into the 10-year treasuries. So I don't think they're going to jump up the quarter of a percent. They might go up a little bit, but the 10-year treasuries are still considered a very good long-term investment, even at the low rate. So I think the mortgages will stay fairly similar.
And what do you think that the Fed will keep their eye on moving ahead?
Yeah, I think they're going to look at the response to this rate hike. They'll continue to look at the different economic factors that they consider, the unemployment rate, some of the manufacturing indexes, and the inflation rate. So, you know, they're trying to keep that under control. And, you know, they've hinted that they're going to continue measured increases going forward, but I think they will be as cautious. And, you know, again, continued increases of this level every couple months, you know, I don't think will dampen the economy. And again, it's going to help those savers who've been really, really hurt in the last 10 years by the interest rates, the low interest rates.
I can tell you, I'm one of them, you know.
Yeah.
We all are. Let's face it, we all are. Hard road back.
Yes.
As long as I've got you, Jim, I want to ask you something else. A lot of talk from Paul Ryan, House Speaker, a lot of legislation being moved through Congress right now pertaining to debt ceilings, taxes. I heard a phrase that I wanted to ask you about, tax extenders.
Yes.
The reason I ask that is as a small business, tell us a bit about what's going on at that Uber level and how it affects us.
There is a series of you know, really tax benefits, tax savings that was extended in 2014, literally this time of year, but they expired. The president at the time said he would only sign 1-year extenders. So that was the case. So they expired January 1st. Those were back on the table. And my understanding is that Congress has agreed to all this legislation and includes the tax extenders. Now, the big ones in there for small businesses are the Section 179 deduction, which is the immediate write-off of qualifying purchase of capital assets, equipment, certain vehicles, that sort of thing. And that's increasing from $25,000, which is what it expired to, back to $500,000.
Great.
Yeah, that's a big benefit to small business. The research and development tax credit, which actually can potentially benefit, you know, more businesses than you think, that got extended. And also, what's great for this area, especially the Greater Glens Falls area, is the medical device excise tax, which is over 2%, you know, off the top, got suspended. So my understanding is that's going to be set aside for at least 2 more years. So the other positive of this is many of these are made permanent or extended for a couple years. So it makes planning in 2016 a lot more certain than it was this past year.
Gotcha. Do you know it? After so many years of worrying, so many years of just confusion, and it seems like we're on a better track now than we have been.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming in. You know, I read about this stuff, I'm sure many of our viewers do, and they don't understand the nuance, and you explained it very clearly.
Yeah,
thank you very much for doing
that.
All right, happy holidays to you.
Thank you. You too.
And everything's looking up.
That's right.
Great, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, LookTVOnline.com.